OneNote. Last week, got a demo from Oliver with the new assets packaging that they made. Zoltan showed the new version of .NET using Rancher Core. We talked about Harvest. We talked about releasing 1.6 and called for people to fix issues. We talked about the threat pool starvation issue that was fixed. Today, day-to-day demos. Like it's been a long time without demos. Topics.
Yeah, maybe next week we'll have a demo of the site set up.
I prefer, so your microphone, I don't know what you do these weeks, but I prefer the usual microphone. It's hard to hear you.
Say that again?
The microphone you are using is very bad.
Well, I have the best microphone on the market.
No, it's not the same as usual.
Hear me better. Get that. Can you hear
Thank
me
you.
better now?
Yes, perfect. I don't know. What did you do so I can tell you next time?
I guess because I started this meeting using a browser, and for some reason it does not take my headset. It takes the computer mic. Yeah.
Okay, there. Thank you. So the most topics we'll see Harvest 1.6 and so on. Status. So last week I could not join the triage because I got a meeting at exactly the same time. And what was the 21st? So we saw that one. And during the meeting, I assume that one is the contributor. Then Mike add text and HTML body notification body. That's a lot of body.
We basically now capture plain text and HTML, and you can say prefer to send a notification using HTML. And if the provider support HTML, the provider will send the HTML or the plain message, whichever one.
There was already a distinction. No. This is just email. Yeah. That's never a good solution. Because also I don't see this interface. So interface, what is this interface? No, it's this. I don't think this interface is an interface. You don't need that. You just need the message. I don't see why the interface is. It's just an interface with data. So it's just a data object. So you can just have the data of the class. There is no need for interface here, I think. But here, so this is what goes to every provider, notification provider, which means now what I'm seeing is that it's completely coupled. Like every time you would have a new notification provider, it will be like, wait, I am an SMS, so maybe you should give me an SMS message or body. And then
Right, and that's why you have the text. So you can, in that case, you would send
you
the
will
text.
use the text because it's just string, right?
Correct.
But HTML is also just string. So the idea is the separation between what you store and.
Yeah, but when you define the workflow, right, you define what message you want to send, right? And at that point, you have to define, well, you don't have to, but you can potentially define 2 formats of a message, right? And so when you send it, the provider, if you say, hey, I prefer HTML, if the provider, like the email notification, supports HTML, then at that point, it'll pick up the HTML template. However, if it doesn't, like an SMS, right, it will pick up the text body. And so each provider can determine what can they support, and then based on that, they can send whatever.
And then you have a third provider that supports HTML also, but supports small HTML, and one supports big HTML. So for the big one, you want to use a big text, but for small one, you want to use small text. What do you do? So one thing is that you are fixing one issue at a time, and there is never this number of issues is never depleting, because you're adding one property for one provider. You exactly did that. And you can say, yes, I do HTML, it's for multiple providers, but I'm like, now I have providers with small and big text. So I want a small text body, a big text body, and small HTML body, and a big HTML body. Or maybe there is one that will take something else than HTML and text. You don't know, and then you will add something else again. So that's where I'm going, where I'm saying that's never a good solution. So I think if you want to be able to provide different things to different providers, then the UI should show different sections for different providers.
You know, the problem with that approach, right? So right now you define a workflow, and you defined, you know, let's say 2 messages. You have let's say you have an email provider, and you put the notification, right? And then you have a text version. And then you enable, after you create the workflow, you enable a new provider. Now that new provider will give you a text box to type in your message, but there's no message. So unless you go back and you update every workflow you have, no messages will be sent to that provider.
But does it mean that today you have to provide the text and the HTML because you might add a new provider that will support HTML?
I mean, yes, but when you enable the feature, the notification feature, and the workflows that it supports, it comes with, you know.
Yeah, but it's the same issue, but from a different point of view. Like, instead of having to add potentially another text in a specific format because you added a provider, you tell them, please provide 2 versions in case you add a provider that will support the second version. And
yeah,
I'm
but
afraid that one day
not,
you will say, oh, I need the 3rd version of that's what I'm saying. You just added 2,
no,
and why not 10?
I clearly get what you're saying. Yes, I get it. I just don't know. I mean, one way we can solve this is by probably adding a property here where we can like add a part, similar logic, where whenever we enable a provider, that provider can, you know, like extend the workflow, or the workflow drivers, so that way it can provide their own input.
Isn't it what we suggested last time? That and also
I'm
I'm suggesting here, which is like, instead of providing a custom part, whatever, at least show the 3 options, all the providers, and say, for this provider I want to send that, and for this provider I want to send that, and for this provider I want to send that. Yes, that's redundancy, but only if you need this redundancy. Like, you could have a common text, and you could have also per provider specific text, maybe. Like the summary before your changes here, before there is that, what does the summary contain? The text to send to any provider, correct?
Yes.
So maybe we still need that, which is the simplest thing, which is, okay, I don't care about who gets the message or sends the message. This is what I want to send, and it will work for everything. And optionally, you could say, and then there is a dictionary of provider name summary, which is, oh, but for the email thing, please send that. And this is HTML, whatever. And for SMS, please send that. And if it's not this case, then use summary. Or you go directly with just per provider per text. So if you have one provider, you provide one text. If there are two providers, you provide two texts. That's, and yeah, and oh no, or I think that's what you mentioned last time. Provide the name of the provider or the string of the provider such that the summary can have an if-else statement to say, if it's email, this is a text. If this is, I don't know, SMS, then this is this text. I think that's something I mentioned last time about being able to have the type of provider such that the provider then, when it renders the message, you will be able, yeah, and then you will be able to add links or not inside the message based on what is sending it and stuff like that. So I think that was my suggestion, actually. If you don't want to use different text and different versions, at least you can, if you want, do if else. If it's SMS, this text. If not, then this text inside the summary. That would maybe the best solution.
In the summary itself, so you basically write
liquid. And I think
gotcha.
if you need, like, if you need to have different versions based on the provider, and maybe one workflow is that, and maybe the other ones won't use that. Fine, good for you, because there is no specificity. But if you need specificity, then you can write it the way you want with an if. And inject links because it's HTML, because you know it's an email or whatever. That would be my suggestion. Because again, if you start doing that, then someone will say, I want to inject whatever messaging thing or just logging, and then I need something else. Or why do I have to type two things, text and HTML? Because mine supports HTML, but people just type the text. And so that's.
No, I understand. Just, I mean, right now, text body and HTML body are optional from a UI perspective.
Okay.
So at least you don't have to.
Yeah, but you see, then make it optional by doing the if. Again, I like the fact that there is a default one that is simple. Simple case, okay, simple text. And extend that if you need. But yeah, that's limited. Like why? Yeah. Maybe the provider will describe itself like expose the types like HTML or text it supports and the size. This way you could say, oh, summary, if provider supports HTML, this is HTML to write. If provider supports or is limited to 158 chars, then just use this text or trim it to 158. I don't know. But yeah, that's limiting what providers format have. So I would say just do nothing, just provide the name, and then people will know, oh, I'm using email, so I can send that. Okay, you see. It's I mean, email referring to wrapper.
There's more views that needed the class, the helpers, and then I added one more helper for the wrapper. So if you want to change, instead of having to hard code the row in every view, and you don't really need it. So again, you can just drop it. Or if you want to increase the spacing, you can easily do that by changing the default NB3 class to whatever it is that you want. update the documentation as well to make sure people are aware in the release logs or change logs, they can see all the changes.
Looks. Get cultures. Okay, this one was merged. So I saw notifications. What is it? Cloud. Get cultures, get all cultures and aliases. Okay, so. This one is gone. Okay, culture alias middleware is gone. Now, nothing here. Get all culture and aliases. Elastic index settings model. So Elasticsearch needs to get the cultures, and we say there is a service for that. And what kind of syntax is this? iLocalization service that get all cultures and aliases. But why put it in the interface? That's an interface. So we have an implementation. Why not put it in the implementation? And can you customize it then? So I don't know if you can customize it the way it's done. I've never used static members on the new thing on interfaces. Then I will also question the perf of that. Every time we call it, we call that, and we also create a new collection that we return. So an implementation could know that this doesn't change and could be cached at least on startup. So at least cached once when it's called. Another implementation could say, I don't want to cache it, fine, but we should cache it by default. It should not change. Maybe it's fine to hard-code it, but someone wants to add something, or yeah. Yeah, I'm like, that's an implementation detail. That's not an interface detail. So the interface should. So first, can we override it? I'm not sure. We need to check. Maybe, and then that's fine. We can override it. We should make it better though. And then let's move the implementation in the implementation. If we can override it. If we can't, we need to be able to override it and then move that in the implementation. Then the name, get all cultures and aliases and whatever, that's an implementation detail. It's called get all cultures. It happens that the default implementation also returns these two. Call them aliases, but they're not aliases. They are just these two more cultures to be added. So we will return the .NET ones plus these two because we need to show these ones. They were removed from the .NET list. So it should be much simpler than that. Standard method, implementation inside the implementation, and not call them aliases, just add them to the union and cache them. I think that should be the way to do that. The rest seems good. Yeah, and resolve the interface and call it like, yeah, I think like. Use some new pattern matching. And I know that Hisham is watching, so we'll react to my comments. So I'm not finding an issue for that. Use some new pattern matching. Okay. No. So I'm opening this one. This one, I understand. Now, let the fun begin. So far, it's just is not, which is interesting because there are much more complex ones you can provide, and these are the ones I'm afraid of.
Yeah, they're all is not.
Okay. But again, it's like there's a precedence. Now someone will come and say, you know, when you can look that, where are you? If there is person, age, 18, you know, things like this. Yeah, I don't like things that we can read, but we can't write, because if you are not used to writing it, you don't know what to write, and you can write that. It's kind of scary. So if not, is Boolean great? Otherwise, but then after we can use, okay, it's not. Okay. Harvest inner recipe once. Okay, execution ID was fixed and is flowed now. mkdocs fix media URL base.
This fixes an issue where all the media were not rendering. The last two changes are just for consistency. They're the same exact thing.
And I was trying to figure out how you get to this point. So there is no shell context feature. Original path base. I don't even know what it is. Original path base. What is it supposed to represent?
That gives you the base of the site. So when you create the like the media URLs, it's like, you know, supposed to be /base or something, or /media or something. Yeah, so you see in line 113, we add the slash, but the next line, we check if that base path value is set. We start with that instead of starting with a backslash.
Yeah, it needs modal. I don't know what this product is. Path base, path and path base. So I understand the path and path base, but the original, like what changed is like something changed something, but I don't know the context. So it's modal. Chantier, if you know what it is, if you could add some doc on the class itself, so we know what this means, how it works. I assume I knew at some point, but I have no idea now. So that's why we need a comment for people like me who forgot. Okay, this one change. AswFileStore. So are you using S3?
I'm using Azure.
Why do you fix that? FileStore option, get request service option. Store options. Oh, I thought it was you. Sorry. It's okay. Sorry, I want to ask you. I just saw that and I didn't realize it was not a good line. Okay. Option set value, interesting. On startup, why? End. Store option. Fine configuration. But then why is it there and not there? Last time I look at the issue because that's weird. 13178 request. Take this one. Oh, that's not the one I wanted. Why am I here? Okay, the request. change initialization. Okay. So the options have some liquid in it. Interesting. But that seems weird. So the interpreter was not being used to parse options. Are they supposed to be used to parse options? And then maybe. So that's interesting. Yeah, maybe because, okay, that's interesting. So you want to use a tenant name. Okay, it's not a base pass, it's the tenant name. Okay, the tenant name. You know, someone might say use the ID instead of the name. Media. Okay, that makes sense. And so something is doing the liquid conversion in the options. So I assume there is a setup for that. Probably, and the setup it will convert the value. Okay, that's why you need that. But yeah, so maybe we should use this instance also there. And not use the bind whatever here, the bind configuration, but just resolve the option. That might be better actually. Okay. And new contributor. Good. So updates done. What else? Topics. 1.6. Let's check.
Yeah, I don't know if you have time. Maybe we should go look at some 1.6 PRs.
Oh, there are PRs 1.6. Interesting. Oh, 1.6 PRs or PRs fixing 1.6 issues?
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, what? Like new PRs that don't fix issues?
I think well, if they're tagged with 1.6, I'm assuming they're fixing issues that are related to 1.6.
I'm pretty sure they are not. They are just people who say we need to look for it for 1.6, but because these are blocking, okay? Like these are things we should fix in a release. And then there are things that are, oh, nice to have for 1.6. So milestone for PR, let's see. MediaField empty modal with BagPart. Which one is that? So let's open them to see. Steering 1.6. Issues, PR fixes this one, which is milestone 1.6. Good. So this one is newish. MediaField empty. Oh, I will need to keep that thing. MediaField modal empty when using BagPart. This needs to be generated. Is that thing? Okay. Remove package because it was removed from package.json, and I remember this one I commented. That we should not merge this PR.
Do you want to just close it then?
I won't close it yet, but at least I will remove the 1.6 milestone. because that's nothing to do with blocking something. But yeah, I will close if I will ping them again and say proof of concept fixed bug 1, 2, 5. Proof of concept. This bug. I'm trying to understand the history of the issue here. It's too big to zoom out, sorry. So the issue is I need to put my hand on the image below because I don't understand what's happening. The first post, second post.
I think you see the top
Okay,
where the
yeah.
search bar.
Something is appearing and we don't want
If you
it to appear.
select something, yeah, if you
Okay,
select
I
it,
get it.
yeah. Yeah.
I see the search. Okay, okay. I get it. And she's a PR, I changed. I don't see a change here. I see a change there. User picker and mapper. Do the same change. Aren't use the same thing. Oh yeah, because okay, we use the same view multi-select for user picker and for something else. Okay. And the change is to have this line. Okay. Okay. The issue is on 1.1. Sorry. So why is the PR16 maybe too bit triage, but I will remove that. So just because we have a PR, I will assign it there and see that we can push on that. Something we can do if we don't want to automate it. Like on every PR or whatever. We could have a GitHub action that we actually do it on any PR. Like something like that. So this is the GitHub action. And it shows, what is that BagPart? Oh, this is a YAML. Where is the code? Workflows. What am I missing here? Or something that I did not, so I thought it was there. I'm confused. Okay, so I don't know where it is anymore, but you can do a GitHub action that would work on a PR and just build it and commit the changes automatically that are resulting from the Gulp pipeline into the same PR. So it will just update that things. Okay, solution. Or someone has to pull the PR and do it and push. Might want to do that triage if it's not done. Should not be hard. Add multiple documents for indexing efficient fields. Why is it? And 6. Issue is, what is the best solution for that? Issue being, if you have a big document, then lucene doesn't support big documents. We have to split it. Oh, that's the only issue. Oh, yeah, that's it. That's the only issue. Yeah, that's fine. Ah, okay. From the aspect. We should look at it on Thursday. I need to remember, but I think Dean has to do something and I have to do the thing before. Because looking at the code, the aspect didn't really make sense. So we'll look at it on triage, new PR. That is not tagged. We have the issues for 1.6. I found one that was fixed by a PR. That's old. Are we using the Net7 templates already? Nope. It's broken on what? On this thing. Oh yeah, two sets of package version based. Yeah, okay, so the build is broken. So this one was merged, that's fine, but the current build is failing. The configs are fine, but this build is failing here. We see, because when we build with Net7, 0 is not compatible with Net 6.0, which means when we build for 6.0, we can't use this package. We need to use a 6.0 package for that. So we need to have some dependencies that are versioned specifically for 6.0. Here you see if I look for .soft, this one, or something. Maybe that this one, it's a .NET one. Dependencies. Oh, not this one, this one. This one you see ASP.NET Core package version. So that's interesting because so what does the PR do to that thing? Yeah, that's the issue here. It's setting 702, 702. What we need to do is make it conditional, like these versions are used when are dependent on the current TFM default equals 6. So property group, can we add? Let's see. Property group condition. We can do that. Condition equals target framework. That's what we want. Oops. Where is the editor? Here. Target framework equals Okay. And let's 7.0. Something like that.
Maybe also copy the comment on line 18 to the next line.
Yeah, but mentions the default. Okay. So I would say that this is for this. I'm reading it correctly, like next 6, next 7, and
Yeah.
I can remove that this way.
Sure. Yeah, there you go.
Syntax error. Might work. So the default is still TFM to build the abstractions and module. Default target framework, abstractions and module. I don't remember what this is. Should it be 2 TFMs here? What is the file name? This one. I want to see it before that commit. Yep, that's it. It needs to be the two of them because we will use that when we do a build in the command line to generate packages. So we need to build for net 6 and for net 7. Okay. Well, yeah, that's what I wanted to see. But we are not installing the framework 6 here. I'm just installing 7, so that might be an issue when we run the test, probably, but we don't run that. Yeah. Some of these versions should not be specified, I believe. So it will be for both, for all the ones that are specified, and we never have to change that. Okay, we'll see things later. And there is a conflict, so as long as there is a conflict, it won't want to. We need to look at the PR to see. There are conflicts. might be a namespace that doesn't exist. We'll see. Okay. Harvest any news? I saw a discussion. Did I see anything?
They wanted to post a poll on the Twitter account, but I don't know who's doing that or who has access.
I own the Twitter account.
You have the account? Yeah,
Yep.
maybe you just need to probably put a Twitter message or something.
March, May, Easter on the 9th. Memorial than 20th. So Easter. No, it's on the
Easter,
April.
that's
Okay,
April.
so
Yeah.
that's
It's
April. That's
only
good.
Mother's Day.
So remember, that's my birthday. Okay, you have to wish me a
April
happy birthday.
9th.
Yeah. And I'm
You're gonna be
out on
turning
this
like
weekend.
70.
Oh, wait. What are they suggesting? Where is discussion? Okay, 22, 23. I'm out on the 29th, so 22, 23. So I don't care, and there is no holiday, but I can do a phone. Okay. But I believe more people are reading this discussion than the Twitter account. We can retweet. Okay, so you say beyond these two things. Oh, you already mentioned. Okay, all good. Did you have the time to look for meetups?
Oh, I did. I looked up one, but I didn't really
To ping these
follow
people, you know, because you must know all the companies that have hosted a conference before and might be able to host it again.
You mean ask them to see if they can help us with the hosting planning?
Well, yes, if they know a company that would be able to host. Because you see, past events, that's how I've done that also by the past. So yeah, just to see where these were hosted. That's crazy. I can't even see that. So I will create a fake account just to see it again. Unless you already have, I have an account on that thing. I have an account. 1 second. I need to ask my accounts repository. Or maybe I deleted it because they just. Yeah, so yeah, I will create an account if you don't have one, just to see where they hosted it, to see which companies were hosting them in the past.
Yeah, I'm trying to see.
Everything is behind this authentication. There is no way around that. Okay, that's something to look into. All good? Questions, comments? Fine. Then it's done. Thanks, everyone. See you next week.
Thank you. See you.
All right.